Welcome to Flying Yogis Adults first online yoga class. Lie down, whether it's on the floor or if you're lucky enough to have a yoga bolster, definitely lie like Chelsea in butterfly pose, Paschimottanasana, and slow your breathing down. Start to lengthen your exhalation. Your inhale may be 4 or 5 counts, and your exhale may be 6 to 8 counts. If you've got any injuries with your neck, or if your neck sort of head falls back a little bit, grab a block and put it underneath your head. Continue the breath, understanding that the inhalation brings energy into the body, and you have your exhalation to calm and relax you. So keep it long and gentle. Taking about 4 or 5 more rounds. And if you'd like to lie longer, you can pause the video and join us when you're ready. Now I'm going to get you to interlace your elbows, fingers around your elbows, and start to draw your arms back in line with the head. Don't poke your ribs forward. Tuck your ribs in and slowly bring your arms over your head, keeping space between the arm bone and the shoulder joint. You can wiggle around a little bit from side to side to get the joint open a little bit more. Try to scoop the tailbone under, engaging the core, and press the rib cage down so that the chest doesn't poke forward. Relaxing your arms. And coming up to seated, we're just going to fold forward in a very loose butterfly. You can curve your spine. Soften your belly. Breathe into the areas holding tension in your body. Could be your hips, could be your face muscles, could be your shoulders. Slowly, slowly coming up. And now let's go into cat pose. It's just like we teach the children. When you round your back, this is angry cat, and wiggle around a little bit. Just do what your body needs. And then when you dip your belly down, it's happy cat. So oscillate between happy cat and angry cat and just do whatever your spine and hips need to get any tension out of the body. So now at some point we're going to lengthen our right leg back and our left arm forward, neutralizing the spine, holding for a moment. And then we're going to start an exercise where we bring our elbow and our knees in and then exhale back into your tiger. So tiger curls 4 or 5 times on each side. If you find this exercise beneficial for your core muscles or you're already doing it in your physiotherapy, you can pause the video and do a few more. We're only going to do about 5 or 6 here on each side. When you finish both sides, back to cat. Start to spread your fingers. Get that awareness through the fingers. Press under every millimeter of your palms. Start to move into downward dog. The way I like to do it at the beginning is to bend my knees, stick my bottom up high in the sky and lift the heels off the ground, pressing my belly deep into the thighs. So I'm going to show you here with Chelsea. She's going to lift her heels. She's going to bend her knees, and then I'm going to give her the adjustment. Wiggle your hips, and if you don't have somebody to adjust you, just wiggle your hips from side to side, lengthening, and then grounding your heels down when you're ready. Start to pedal left to right, exaggerating the pedal so as one foot heel leaves the floor, the other foot grounds. Slowly bringing yourself to the top of the mat, or you can choose to jump. So this class today, Chelsea will be mainly showing you the easier options, and I'll be showing you a few challenges. So it's basically an open class. Exhale your head down. Looking up on the inhale, straighten your legs. Chelsea could have her hips more over the ankles. Exhaling down. And last one, inhale, head all the way up. Try and straighten your legs. And exhaling down. Slowly rolling all the way up to standing, hands above the head. Inhale. Hands to prayer at the chest. Exhale. Take some breaths. So we're going to do a couple of more warm-up stretches before the salutes. So standing with the feet together, grab your left wrist, bring your hips to the left and banana bend all the way out to the right side. Take a few breaths there, calm the breath down, relax your shoulders, come back to the center. Grab your other wrist and come to the other side. Coming back. Now come back to mountain pose, Tadasana, at the top of your mat. Arms up as you inhale, Surya Namaskar. Hands down as you exhale, fold. Right leg back, knee grounds. Child's pose as you exhale. Pull the buttocks all the way to your heels. Hands flat. So now knees, chest, chin. Coming into Sphinx or Cobra as you inhale. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Bringing your right foot forward, left knee grounds. Left foot forward, Uttanasana, forward bend. Coming all the way up to standing, inhale. And hands to prayer, exhale. Arms up on the inhale. Palms down as you exhale, fold. Left leg back, knee grounds. Right leg back, child's pose. Knees, chest, chin. Cobra on the inhalation. So scooping up into Cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, right knee grounds. Right foot forward, Uttanasana, forward bend. Coming all the way up to standing, inhale, and hands to prayer, exhale. Take a gentle breath in and out. Now this one, we need to push our hips forward and scoop our tailbone to get that back arch. Couple of breaths, inhale and exhale, just wiggling around whatever you need to get deeper into the pose, and then exhale, fold. Looking up on the inhale and exhale down. Right leg back, and we're going to ground the knee down to the ground. We're going to bring the hands to the hips and wiggle around a bit. Now I cheat to get more flexibility here. I sink my knee all the way over the toes. That idea of keeping your legs at 90-degree angles. Try that idea of knee over the toes. You'll get you deeper in and a little bit more of a back arch. Raise your arms in the air, palms together. The more you scoop the tailbone down and press the hips forward, the deeper you'll go. Then bringing your hands down and come to downward facing dog. Exhale. Roll to plank on the inhalation. Staying in dog. Now we're rolling to plank. Exhale. Inhale. Now exhale, pushing down. So you want to be in a straight line, completely straight line before upward dog. I see Chelsea. She keeps her bottom in the air, but what I'm going to challenge you guys to do is to scoop and stay straight, like a log. It's Chaturanga Dandasana, the four-angled or the four-limbed rod pose. So she's going to come into pushing down. Now she's going to stay in her upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. She's going to stay a few breaths here. This is the time to go as deep into the pose As you inhale, chest and belly expands. Then exhale, belly and chest contracts all the way in. Those who know their bandhas can create their deep Uddiyana Mula Bandha at the end of every exhale. Now she's going to bring her right foot forward. Get that hip alignment, sink the knee over the toes, wiggle around at the hips, and eventually she'll raise her arms to prayer position above the head. These stretches are the foundations for hip flexor opening, spine and lengthening, great for your back bends, great for your core, strengthens and tones everything. Come to downward dog, exhale. Feel like someone's standing on your hands. Roll into your high plank, then chaturanga, flat body. Good, that's much better. And then upward facing dog, inhale. Flatten onto the tops of the feet. If you can, knees off the grounds and shins. Exhale, downward facing dog. So yeah, I sometimes don't mind if you make a few mistakes, but I really love my students to start and finish at the top of the mat. Fingers all the way to the top. So Chelsea will walk to the top of the mat, or you could choose to lunge or lightly jump forward. Head up on the inhale and exhale, fold. Coming all the way up on the inhalation and then hands to prayer at the exhale. So we're going to sweep down. This is Utkatasana. Now careful you don't stick your bottom out. You want to scoop the tailbone. You really want to feel like you're sitting in a chair. So scoop the tailbone, navel to spine, and then lift your chest up. Try not to knock your knees into each other. So make sure there's about an inch between your knees. And exhale, fold. It's a strong pose. Look up on the inhale. And exhale, folding all the way down. Our left leg's coming back this time. And we're going to bend the right knee to 90 degrees. Even stronger. Warrior one. Virabhadrasana one. Even weight throughout both feet and try to bring that left hip further and further forward. Oh, it's a room. Now coming to warrior two. And then swinging the arms down, come to warrior one. Warrior two. Warrior one. Warrior two. That left arm's just going in a circle constantly. Now from here, bring your hands down on either side of the foot. So Chelsea's, we're going to swing our right leg all the way back. Chelsea's going to show an easier progression, and I'm going to show a more progressive one if anybody wants to try it. So Chelsea's going to bring her foot down and move to plank. And then she's going to come to chaturanga. I'm going to keep my leg up, but you've got to use those back muscles and those glutes to keep the leg up. And then come to upward dog. Practice it. It's a lot of fun. Exhale, downward dog. Take a few moments here. Bringing your other leg forward. Warrior one. Ground the back heel. Warrior two. Warrior one. Warrior two. Warrior one. Warrior two. Inhale, warrior one, going with the breath. Hands down on either side of the foot. Swing that leg all the way up and back. And shoot down into your chaturanga, either with the foot on the floor or the leg all the way up. And then we're meeting in upward facing dog. Inhale, downward dog. So that's our salute series today. You're going to walk or jump or float all the way to the top of the mat on your next breath in. And we'll meet in Uttanasana, exhale. So I'm going to get you to bring your feet about hip width apart and trigger grip your big toes. That's it. So here, looking here, the front ways. The fingers kind of press the toes up, the toes press the fingers down, and with that resistance, we're going to stretch forward. If you've got a big curve between your tummy and your thighs, I recommend you bend your knees. If you're getting more flexible in the posture, grip your ankles or forearms behind the calves. Slowly, slowly on your next breath in, raising the arms above the head as you inhale, and then hands to prayer as you exhale. Come to Tadasana, mountain pose. Jump the legs out wide. We're going to do our first standing posture, triangle pose. So if you need a block, you can bring it on the outside edge of the foot. You're going to turn your right foot out to your right and your left heel out to your left. Now, for detail, you want your right heel perpendicular with the left instep. Our mats have a center line. If you can get one of those mats with a center line, we get ours from our partner at Decathlon. They're inexpensive and they've got all the high technology in their products. Spread the fingers. And feel like you are opening that left shoulder blade back to an imaginary wall. Coming all the way back up on your next breath. And we are going to come to the other side. So Chelsea might need to take the block with her. You might find one side stiffer than the other. Just observe what happens with your breath, what happens with your focus. Your mind might wander. So now we're going to come to rotated triangle. So this takes an adjustment. I'm going to turn my left toes all the way in and my right foot all the way out to the right and keep swinging so that my hips are going to be parallel with the right leg. Left hand is either going to be on the inside or the outside edge of the foot. I'm going to try and keep lifting my left hip back so I can twist. Chelsea could put her block on the outside edge of the foot. If you're very stiff, you could have it on your inside edge of the foot. You're aiming to spread your fingers and have a 180-degree angle between your left wrist and your right fingertips. Now swinging and coming all the way over to the other side. I'm quite a stickler for graceful transitions between poses. So trying to think about each step of the movement to move gracefully from one posture to the next adds to your mindfulness practice. Come back to mountain pose. Jump all the way out again. We're going to get our legs a little wider this time and we're going to bring our right foot out to the right. Bend the knee to 90 degrees. Press into the back foot. You see, we've kept our weight even between the right and the left foot. I often see students lunging into one foot. Keep your arms at 180 degrees, and my advice is just relax the shoulders. Feel the arm bone float right out of the shoulder joint. Now Chelsea's going to slide the arm down. Actually, as a beginner, you can bring your right elbow onto the knee. And as you get a little bit deeper, you can slide the arm onto the block or onto the ground. I'm going to do a half bind. This helps me open my chest even more. You don't underestimate how much of a spinal rotation or twist this is. And there's my full bind where I reach for my top wrist. Back to warrior two. Straightening the legs. Bending the knee to the other side. So we'll go through the posture on the other side. My teacher Dharma Mitra always said you can bend your knee in warrior poses always more than you think. Side angle posture, sliding the arm down. Then those who'd like to half bind or full bind, please do. So I'm encouraging Chelsea to roll her shoulder down. Her armpit wants to start to turn towards the wall behind her. Her neck is lovely and long. Chin in. Back to warrior two. I'm going to get her to do mountain pose at the top of the mat. This brings us to our next pose, rotated side angle posture. Parivrtta Paschimottanasana. Let's keep our, well, she's going to keep her right leg forward and her left knee down. I'm mirroring her. We're going to raise our right arms. I'm going to show you a very full version and she's going to show you a more basic version. So what I'm doing here, I'm trying to get my right shoulder blade well over my left knee. Same with Chelsea. We're going to bring our hands to prayer and thumbs to heart center. I'm going to straighten my back leg, but I'm actually also going to show you a few other options. You can bring right arm down, left arm overhead, or I'm actually going to ground my back heel down and bind. Don't force yourself to bind. In fact, it's often better to know if you're able to bind from classes that you've been to under the guidance of a teacher. Whacking your arm out of joint or out of the shoulder sockets, not recommended. So Chelsea's going to come to child's pose. I'm going to come to downward dog. If you feel a bit more energetic, you can do your vinyasa, which is your plank, push down, up dog, down dog between the poses. So now Chelsea's going to do it on the other side. One leg forward, butterfly, thumb to heart center, pull the belly in, hump the lower back, twist through the diaphragm upwards. Curl the back toe under, straighten the back leg. So this is her next stage. See that straight line from her ankle all the way to her armpit. And then rest in child's pose or your downward dog, up to you. Coming back to Uttanasana. Resting there for a moment and coming all the way up to standing, arms all the way above the head, inhale, hands to prayer, exhale. So now we'll do a few standing balances. So I'll show you a couple of fun variations with Vriksasana, the tree. Chelsea's going to do some basic options, maybe bringing her left leg to her calf or her heel all the way in towards the right groin, but I'm going to come and do the half lotus. So with the half lotus, I'm thinking of bringing my hip forward and my thigh and knee back. Our next option, she's bringing her heel up towards her hips. I am going to half bind and come into forward fold. Stay here about 4 or 5 breaths. Slowly, slowly coming up when you're ready. Spread. The challenge is to come up without stumbling. Let's try our version on the other side. Coming into your half lotus or your basic or full tree, up to you. Then you might choose to bind if you're doing the half lotus. And folding. And then slowly coming up. Oops, well done. Okay, mountain pose. Next balance we're going to do, Chelsea's once again going to show the simpler versions. And I'm going to get a belt. We're doing Utthita Hasta Padangustasana. This is the standing leg stretch. Chelsea's actually going to do it just for alignment. She's going to do it with her knees hugged in. This is great if you stumble with your balance. You can focus on rolling that right hip down and thinking of the even weight between all 4 edges of the feet. I've got my leg in front, and as you get more flexible, you can grab your big toe. Now we are going to bring the leg out to the side. If you're comfortable, look out over your left shoulder. That involves opening the left shoulder all the way out to the left. And coming down. Let's try the other side. Forward. Out to the side. Coming forward. Great. The longer you leave it, the better the core exercise. Feel that burn in the leg. Great. So we're going to start our progressions from standing postures to floor poses. Let's start with a forward bend. Going to show you what happens when we don't have too much flexibility in our legs. See here, Chelsea's spine is quite curved. What I would recommend here, instead of the big hump in the spine, that she bends her knees. Still don't sit in the posture. Tailbone stays up. Then as she lifts her head and chest, she's going to lengthen the front spine. Try and keep that front spine straight as you come down into your fold. The bent knee still enables you to get a very good hamstring stretch, especially between the glutes and the hamstrings. So staying there and start to walk your hands between your feet. Keep thinking of lengthening your spine. Now Skandasana. This is great for your thighs and your hip flexors. So if you can get your other leg all the way down, try it. But on the other hand, what we're working on here, the easier version is to stay low, but prod your fingers on the ground. I'm going to keep my hands at prayer in the chest. Chelsea's going to keep her fingers on the ground. We're going to go from left to right a few times. This is the kind of pose that if you do about 5 to 8 of them on each side, you will feel it tomorrow as you walk up and down the stairs. This is Batman and Catwoman, how we teach the children. So as we get there, we'll come into our straddle pose, however you can. Flexing out. It's not important how wide you get your legs. You want your shins and your knees and your thighs lifting upwards. These side stretches are absolutely delicious. Lengthen the waist from the hips. Lower the shoulders. Come to your other side. Good. You can observe that one side stretch here than the other. So now we're going to move forward. The trick here is not to bend in the middle of the back. I know it happens with the majority of the people. I prefer for you to spend a little bit of time at an angle. So I'm giving Chelsea a bolster to hang around. And if you're even more tense in your body, sit on a block. So what I'm going to demonstrate here, see, you keep your chest up until that last moment. And slow the breathing down. It's a wonderful pose to stay in for quite a while. It's a yin stretch as well. If you wanted to turn the video off and hold for 4 or 5 minutes, you would see a world of relaxation come after a little while. But we're staying here just for about 5 or 6 breaths. Now bend your left knee. And we're going to twist all the way over to the right leg. Flex your right foot. And once again, keep the chest up until that last moment, then fold. So you want to try to enable that left side of the body to fold all the way to the right as well. So you're not got that left side of the body gaping upwards and out. Feel like someone is stepping on your left thigh. If you don't have someone to step on your left thigh, it's a great adjustment. It alleviates back pain by giving a lot of space through the hip and the lower back, where some people feel very dull if they're squishing their spine a lot. Yeah, she needs to flex her feet. It's painful at the beginning, but it gets you more extension, more stretch in your hamstrings. Another pose that you could stop the video and do 5 minutes on each side and just fall into a dreamy sleep. All your tensions would wash away. It's one of my favorite postures. So here we're going to do Paschimottanasana, extended forward bend. So because Chelsea struggles to stretch her hamstrings, she's going to sit on an elevation like a block. I'm going to also get her to use a belt. She could probably reach her feet, but just to see some options if you can't reach her feet. So otherwise you can grip around the feet and still keep that chest up. Try not to round the back and crunch all your stomach muscles. The idea of this pose is to give your abdominal organs space. So lengthen as much as you can. Wiggle the waist out of the hips and the ribs out of the waist. Soften your breath and stay down for a few moments. Slow the inhale. Slow the exhale. Slow the inhale. And exhale, staying a few moments longer. Another possible yin stretch if you wanted to stop and time the posture for 5 minutes. So coming up, that's a very calming pose. The counter pose is called Purvottanasana, which stretches the top side, the front side of the body. And you're going to press the feet down and lift the hips. If your neck is sore or aching, you've got an injury, don't drop your head back. You could choose to come to tabletop with your knees bent and your hips up, and you can be on your feet as well. 3 more breaths. And 2. Now lift your head up on the inhale and lowering down as you exhale. Hug your knees in. Here's time for core work. Don't worry, I don't put too much core work in. My theory is if you're engaging your core throughout a whole yoga practice, you don't need to do all these sit-ups. But we're going to do our token core exercise. This is boat. See, Chelsea has the bent knees and mine are straight. And this is dish. This is boat. Try and squeeze your hips to your ribs. And back to dish. Feel your whole lower back glued to the ground. Back to boat. So now we are going to do a tuck. And Chelsea's going to have blocks on either side of her hips. She's going to press her hands down on the blocks to lift. I'm going to try and do it with my hands flat on the ground. So tucking in, palms down, scoop, and lift. And down. Now cross your legs the other way. Scoop, and lift, and down. So what I've given Chelsea the core exercises for is a preparation for headstands and handstands. If you haven't done headstands and handstands before, don't kick up into a headstand unless you've had supervision from a teacher. So I'm going to show you what Chelsea will be doing. She's going to do a dolphin kind of style Spider-Man. The thing she was saying to me is that it is very, very hard to hold for as long as I'm about to make her hold on. But she's about to hold on for as long as I'm going to do the alternative, which is the headstand. So watch what she's doing here. Her elbows are shoulder width apart. Her hips are in line with her waist and her shoulders and her armpits. And she will be able to stay in this pose if she keeps rising and lifting, not sinking. She has to use her core. I'm staying in headstand for about 10 to 12 counts. These inversions are the kings and the queens of all asanas. I know at many schools they're not doing inversions at the moment. However, these possess all the therapeutic benefits of a whole entire yoga practice. They are complete postures. So if you can go to a teacher or do the variations such as what Chelsea's doing, if you've got the strength, try not to hurt yourself and you stay safe, or if you know the poses, I really recommend you add them into every practice you do. Coming down slowly. So now we choose a few head releasing, neck releasing postures. Cat and cow. And here is the rabbit. Crown of the head down, tuck your chin in, lengthen the back of the neck, and then hang the interlaced fingers and arms over the head if you can. I might look like I'm getting further, but I believe that Chelsea's getting far more effective and all a deeper stretch. So I'm actually going to show the easier option. I'm going to do the Spider-Man handstand. This is a favorite of flying yogis. So I'm actually, you might not be able to see, I'm at an L-shaped intersection. So I'm not actually walking my legs too high, and then we can do these fancy fun variations. And if anybody wants to learn deeper, more progressive handstands, we often have handstand workshops at Flying Yogis. You just have to look on the adults website. It's part of the website. And our adult workshops such as handstands or acro poses, you can get your dates and you can book there. Here's another neck release after strong handstands. Come back to plank. Here is where we're going to do our spinal extensions. So here are some gentle preparations. Both Chelsea and I have quite stiff spines, so we're going to go slowly. We're just going to lift our ribs. We're going to keep the floating rib on the ground and try to get a movement in our upper back. And then head down. Exhale. Inhale. This time we're going to come up more. But as we do, don't shrug your shoulders into your ears. I have to use my hips and my glutes, really engage them to pull my shoulders back down towards my bottom. If you're stiff in the spine, you can have your hands further out like a seal, and then exhale, coming down. This time we're coming into Cobra. We're going to start some spinal extension variations. These are great for healing back pain and getting your spine stronger. So I'm going to look towards my right leg. I'm going to bend my right knee. I'm going to pull my right shin as far away from me as I can. So see how it straightens my arm and gets me a better back bend. Anyone who wants to do a bit of a frog variation, you can pull the heel down past the buttock. And if you've got the ability through the shoulders, see if you can roll your fingers over your toes. And let's try the other side. Pulling the leg back as far as you can. Heel past the buttock. And then down. Knees up. Grab your ankles. The full bow pose. So I'm going to give you an option I love to do. So here I'm going to get you, what you want to do is get your hip bones on an elevation. If you don't have a bolster at home, something supportive underneath your hips. So your hip bones are going to be on. Or your belly. Yeah, hip bones on. That's better. And now do the posture. It just gives you that kind of spinal extension, especially if you don't have a flexible back. She's going to pull her shins away and get a little bit higher. And even if you're quite flexible in the back, try it with the bolster. It's a wonderful spinal extension. It just gives you that depth of movement that you just can't get on your own. Floating your legs back, come to Cobra. Try not to shrug. And then moving into your child's pose or cat's and cow. To release the spine, just make sure you always get that length in the spine. If you felt any crunch, ideally as we get stronger, there should be less and less crunch as we lengthen our tailbone and you do our back bends from our hip flexors and not from the curve in the back. So now while we're on back bends, I'm going to put a block between Chelsea's knees. And she's going to do Bandhasana, a gentle bridge posture. She's going to keep her legs up. She's going to interlace her fingers. Now, anyone who'd like to come into their deep spinal extension, the back bend, here's how we're going to do it. Lift the hips up, come right onto your shoulders. I'm going to, just as a preparation, bring my hands down and pop myself onto my head. I love to actually go onto my forehead. If you're confident with your neck, you can crunch your neck back, and here is my back bend. As you can see, I don't have a flexible spine, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to stay in the pose for a long time, and then my body starts to form and morph into the arc. Personally, it takes me about 8 to 10 breaths before I really feel the change in the movement in the body. But we're all going to come down now. You can hold the breath longer. And if you like, you can pause the video and do 2 or 3 more back bends. Or you can rest and hug your knees into the chest. So I'm going to eagle cross my legs over. So I've got my right leg over my left, and I'm going to twist towards my left. Chelsea's doing the simpler version. She's going to bring her knees to the left. We're both going to look to the right. Belly soft. Breath soft. You're going to find if you clench, just remind yourself to relax. Let's come to the other side. I'm changing the crossover of my legs. And then back to the center. Hug your knees into the chest. So this is getting towards the ending sequence. Chelsea's demonstrating the Ardha Savangasana. This is the half shoulder stand. I'm near a lumbar Savangasana, so I'm as straight as I can be. I'm bringing my hips forward and thighs back, interlacing my fingers and trying for the balance. Close your eyes and draw your gaze upward and inwards towards your third eye. I'm going to do a few variations here while she stays up. Ekapada, one-legged, whoops, into Lotus. So if you've got a Lotus practice, try and do it without your hands. Now she's going to go into plow pose. And I'm going to go into this upside down seat. Padmasana, Savangasana. Now here is the Pindasana, the embryo. Bringing my thighs as close to the chest as I can and interlacing my fingers. Chelsea's going to try to draw her knees to her ears. Snail pose or deaf man's pose. Kanipidasana. Ear pressure or ear pain posture. So we're going to come back up into our shoulder stand. Another complete pose. Please try to include it in every yoga practice. And then roll down vertebra by vertebra, or slowly. And we are going to release the neck through this fish-like shape. I'm going to sit on my hands, draw the rib cage up and come onto the crown of the head. Many progressive practitioners may do this with in Lotus pose, grabbing their toes. Now this is our last pose. This is very well-deserved twist. Spinal extensions are great for toning the abdominal organs. For ringing your abdominal organs, it's a really good detox. So we're going to cross one leg over the other and twist. Matsyendrasana, named after the Lord of the Fishes. If you've got a wall, be arm distance away from the wall and use that wall to go deeper into the posture, looking all the way towards the wall. Take about 5 or 6 gentle breaths here. Inhale, lift your spine. Exhale, twist a little deeper. And to the other side. Chelsea's gone the wrong way. She would probably want to hug her left arm over her right knee. And release. And a very well-deserved Shavasana. Oops. We are going to do a seated breathing exercise. Kapalabhati breathing. So I'm in Lotus. And she's just in an easy cross leg. And we are going to... Kapalabhati is the forceful exhalations. Feel your belly contract every time you exhale. Do as many as you can. And at some point, inhale, hold the breath on the inhale for as long as you can. This is kind of where you're going to end in your own time. You'll hold for as long as you can. Then you can exhale and hold the breath on the exhale for as long as you can. And when you are ready, you can find a Shavasana. I'm going to put Chelsea in what I call the world's best yoga pose. So I'm going to get a bolster and I'm going to put it about, say, 10, 15 centimeters away from the wall. And she's going to lie, her bottom just hanging off the bolster, shoulder blades on the ground. I'm going to get myself a bolster too so she can rest her shoulder blades on the ground. Try, if you are not comfortable in this posture, you are not doing it correctly. So just wiggle around until you find a comfortable spot. If you don't have a wall, Shavasana with your legs flat or over a bolster if you can. We always recommend about 8 to 10 minutes. Close your eyes, relax, and enjoy your relaxation. Namaste.